Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Tobago. We're here at AMBLYN, an eye-catching condo situated in the seaside village of BUCCOO. It is our location for today's episode, and we cannot wait to show you all this wonderful property has to offer. Also, in the next half hour, we've got lots in store for you as we recap the major events in Tobago over the past week. So stay with us for all the details. I'm Davia Chambers, and Let's Talk Tobago starts right now. The Tobago House of Assembly presented and debated the island's fiscal 2023 budget request. We've got a breakdown just for you. Nearly 700 families benefit from home improvement support from the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development. Planned Clinic Mondays are set to resume in-person sessions. And later, the NLTB Buccaneers Steel Orchestra gives thanks as the organization turns 55. We have all these stories and more for you when Let's Talk Tobago returns. Stay with us. AMBLYN is a quiet, charming condo. It's got 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and can comfortably house 6 guests. You can also enjoy an excellent range of amenities, a fully equipped kitchen, a welcoming balcony and a pool. Whether it's a family vacation or a line with friends, there's room for you right here. The Tobago House of Assembly recently presented the island's fiscal 2023 budget request of almost $4 billion at the Assembly Legislature. Then it was the turn of the members to debate the contents of the budget. We have some highlights of the debate in this story. Have a look.
Proceedings for the $3.97 billion fiscal package presented by the Chief Secretary and Secretary for Finance, Trade and the Economy earlier on June 23, 2022, was now to be debated, pending majority approval in the legislature chamber. The estimates of revenue and expenditure for the Tobago House of Assembly for fiscal 2023 were scrutinized by the Minority Leader and Assemblyman for Darrell Spring Wim, Kelvon Morris, who cautioned the administration that its expectations may be improbable. While he commended some listed items, the Minority Leader questioned the feasibility of salary increases for URP and CPEP.
Given that the requested allocation in the estimates remained at $8 million for URP, the question is, how would such an increase be sustained?
The minority also questioned the administration's plans for several sectors, including the fishing industry.
While it was shared that the fishing industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, there was no clear plan on how we would tap into this industry to generate real revenue.
In her rebuttal, Assemblyman for Bell Garden, Glamorgan, Dr. Faith B. Israel, reminded the minority that the current administration has only been in office since December. Dr. B. Israel says the budget request laid by the Honorable Chief Secretary, Fali Augustine, remains within legal parameters.
If we look at all of the estimates, all of the $3.97 billion, because it really does represent the 6.9% of what we estimate the national budget to be. Because in 2000, there was a ruling that said we can get up to 6.9%.
Further contributions from the House endorsed the Chief Secretary's fiscal 2023 budget presentation.
The division should point to, in fiscal 2023, through the programs and projects identified, the division intends to start the redevelopment of agriculture, fisheries and forestry in Tobago to enable greater environmental and food security. The division will also participate actively in the formulation of Tobago's development plan and associated medium-term expenditure framework, which will provide the context in which its future annual expenditure programs, policies and incentives for the sector development will be designed.
Meanwhile, the Chief Secretary says stakeholder consultations will be ongoing for the 2023 budget.
We will continue that conversation, but one thing the PDP is known for is public engagement and speaking to the people of Tobago. We have never been fearful of that. And so that conversation will continue.
In the end, the motion was put to a vote and passed by way of simple majority. I'm Ryan McCool for Let's Talk Tobago.
So we've shared the views of the Assemblymen on the fiscal 2023 budget request. But what are Tobagonians looking forward to? Well, our production crew took to the streets to find out from residents their budget expectations. Listen up.
The 2021-2022 fiscal year is nearing its end. As we speak, the Tobago House of Assembly is already conducting pre-budget consultations. That's why we have decided to take to the streets to find out what wishes you have for the upcoming financial year. Let's go.
I'd like to see a better bus service to go to the country. We need to get the expense down because you're working, your salary is the same and everything gone up sky high. So we need better infrastructure and better management. So I hope that they would manage the country, the island better.
I'm from Charlottesville and we just catch with tail sometimes to get transportation. And we need better service. Better service. We need the food prices to drop. Everything just gone up. Money is not there and everything just gone up. You're going to grocery today, tomorrow you're going next day, everything gone up. And people have to live.
My expectation is for the government of Trinidad and Tobago to do better where food prices are concerned.
And Tong will say gratuity. Everybody is interested in gratuity. So too am I and my colleagues. Yeah, gratuity it is.
While the 2023 THA budget request moves ahead for further assessment, the public will still have the chance to offer suggestions via social media and other platforms catering for stakeholder engagement. I'm Ryan McCool for Let's Talk Tobago.
The Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development continues to respond to the social needs of Tobagonians, especially the most vulnerable residents, through several of its programs. It's the motivation behind the island's single largest grant distribution ceremony held at Shaw Park Complex. We have more in this report. Rennie Kwao, Olympic medalist and one of this country's most decorated 400 meters athletes, now has his own home. Rennie was recently honored by the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development. He received keys to a home at Plymouth's Homes of Adventure.
It feels good, all my hard work over the years. It's no big deal. Hard work pays off, so in the end, I was expecting something like this, so I really appreciate it though.
Yes, I do really feel happy about it, and it's hard work paid off. We're very happy.
Additionally, close to 700 families in Tobago got checks to improve their homes. In all, $9 million was presented to the families, making it the largest single disbursement by the Settlements Division.
These times call for financial acumen, prudence, strategic direction, and most importantly, compassion. This is also important to me and Assistant Secretary George. Nothing is more important than caring for our people, and today's disbursement of $9.2 million in our public commitment to upholding our oath of office.
And is an indication that we understand the need to respond to the growing social needs of our island's people, especially the most vulnerable.
Chief Secretary of Tobago, Honorable Fali Augustine, says his administration aims to develop the greatest little island on the planet. The first step, protecting and caring for the most vulnerable.
We know what it is to have humble dwellings, but dwellings that are well taken care of, clean and immaculate. This program is part of a larger dream that we have for the Tobago that we are called to serve. It's a dream that we will have home ownership that Tobagonians can afford. And you should never be in a position that you can't afford to live here. It's a dream that when people are affected by natural disasters, you can immediately, without a whole heap of red tape, get help.
Our mandate is to provide an adequate standard of living for everyone, regardless of color, complexion, denomination, that is religious, or political persuasion.
And those who received grants were eager to begin the necessary work to improve their homes.
Yes, I thought they had forgotten me, but when I got the call to come today, I felt really elated. Yeah, I am not going to stick because I've been waiting for so long. Yeah, So I'm going to get my hands on material and begin work as soon as possible.
The check distribution ceremony was hosted at Shore Park Complex. It's time for a break, but up next, the newly installed board of the Tobago Tourism Agency shares some of its plans for Tobago. We'll tell you more when Let's Talk Tobago returns. Stay with us.
I decided to take the vaccine to first provide protection for myself and my family and the people around me, including my co-workers and everybody I come into contact with, including the public. In the course of my duties, I am heavily engaged in public discussion, public meets, and I do a lot of investigations in the public. So I decided, based on the empirical data provided and based on advice of my physician, that the vaccine is the way to go to protect us all. So, vax up, protection starts with us.
Staycations, airlifts, and sustainability. Those are some areas of focus for the new board of the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited, or TTAL. Umadara Mills caught up with Chairman Alicia Edwards to get the scoop on some of the agency's plans for tourism in Tobago. Here's more.
In the coming months, Destination Tobago will participate in a number of road shows and travel markets. This will ensure Tobago's source market partners are aware that the island is ready to welcome visitors and provide them with great memories. That's just one of the plans of the new 12-member board of directors at the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited, TTAL. Another area of focus for the new board is making the most out of the airlift opportunities, especially the one coming out of the United States.
One of the things that we're hopping on is the fact that there's now a direct flight between JFK and Tobago. Previously, the agency had no direct marketing interaction or support in the US market, and we're working now to create a situation where we have a rep in the US market. The links, first of all, the diaspora demand, and also getting into just generic demand from that particular market.
And even as we look to attract more foreign visitors, the chairman of TTAL gives the assurance that our domestic market will not be neglected. So promoting staycations is another key factor in increasing visitor arrivals.
The second thing that we would be interested in is focusing a little more on domestic marketing. What COVID has shown us is that while it's all right for us to focus on the external market for tourism, we cannot get away from the staycations and the domestic demand that can help to buoy us through a future rough period.
Since the board's appointment about 3 months ago, there's been questions about the Tobago Beyond branding. Ms. Edwards says her team sees the valuable potential this label has for the island.
The Tobago Beyond Ordinary gives us an opportunity to build out and round out our marketing message to really showcase all the things that make Tobago special, or harvest, or culture, the way that we could just go and buy fresh fish, and all the things that just make my island beautiful. So we definitely will be working on using local content, using local influencers, more local music, more local shots, basically selling the destination from the eyes of a Tobagonian.
The new board will also continue to support the agency's sustainability strategies, like facilitating the Green Key and Blue Flag certification programs.
They have gotten the Green Key and they're working on the Blue Flag certification, and we think that if we're going to continue to sell ourselves as a Beyond Ordinary island, those international certifications will help us to position ourselves properly in that market, and also as well to perpetuate the narrative that we're actually doing the things that we say we want to be doing.
The board will also work with TTAL's employees as well as local stakeholders to strengthen the island's offerings to visitors. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Atlantic storms are not to be taken lightly. In fact, they can be downright devastating. That's why the Disaster Readiness Authorities and the first responders in Tobago are making sure the island can respond to emergencies brought on by natural disasters. And following recent weather activity, we look at how the island has been preparing. Here's more in this story.
Planning and preparation can make a huge difference, especially when it comes to getting ready for the hurricane season. The most recent reminder came on June 28th and 29th, with the Trinidad and Tobago Met Service announcing that the country had been placed on storm watch. Thankfully, the island was spared severe storm activity. However, the Tobago Emergency Management Agency TEMA and cooperating agencies were ready to respond to any resulting emergency.
Were we prepared? Yes, we were. We have been down this road already. It's not our first rodeo with a tropical storm level strength. We have the history of managing Hurricane Ivan, the November severe weather of 2004, and the following year, 2005, we had also the tropical storm Emily. All of these events we would have managed quite clearly. That we would have activated the Emergency Operations Center just about 24 hours ago, and during that period, we would have received 11 reports so far as to what may have happened. During this window of operations, or this theater of operations, the leadership of having the Honorable Chief Secretary taking charge and leading this charge, it was very, very easy for us to coordinate this event. And that gave rise to a level of preparedness and readiness.
This rainy season is expected to be an active one, which will put emergency responders to the test. Mr. Stewart says his team takes the hurricane season seriously. He says they're prepared to manage emergency situations, and Mr. Stewart is calling on Tobagonians to prepare too, so they can be resilient in the face of a disaster. In addition, the island already has many volunteers who will support its efforts.
This is what gives rise to the CERT 1000 Strong program, which garner at this stage over 625 CERT registrants. This gives us the manpower that is so much needed, especially if we have what you may call a catastrophic event. So we are preparing Tobago for, and we want the Tobagonians themselves in all of the sectors, the private sector, the public sector, the community level, to build resilience going forward.
Tobago wasn't hard hit by the passing tropical wave. However, to give a report.
11 reports so far as to what may have happened. Among those 11 reports, they all happen in 11 different jurisdictions or villages across the island of Tobago, some of which comprised of 2 roof reports, and most of them, 4 of them being fallen trees and impacting other areas. One of them would have been a house that collapsed completely, and that would be considered to be the most severe.
To ensure you're as ready as possible for any emergency, here's a few tips you can follow. Make sure you have a battery-operated radio. Secure important documents in a waterproof bag or container. Get a properly working flashlight and extra batteries. And of course, find out which emergency shelter is closest to you. I'm Kern De Freitas for Let's Talk Tobago.
Just like people and animals, plants can get sick. And when they do, you can take them to be diagnosed and treated just as you would visit a doctor. Umar Mills tells us about a clinic for plants that the public will soon be able to access. Here's this story.
I decided to see what the Plant Protection Unit's plant clinic is like. On this particular day, I brought samples of a few plants like chocolate mint and rosemary. Plant protection specialist Casey Marie Boucher-Koon asked me a few questions, made several observations about the samples, then checked them out using a microscope and came up with a diagnosis. It turns out the chocolate mint has been infected with a soft scale insect, while the rosemary plant is infected with an armored scale insect. Casey Marie then gave me several recommendations for treating with the pests. That's the process clients can expect when they come to Plant Clinic Mondays, a service that will restart in July of this year.
Now that things have improved concerning COVID-19, we will now be reopening our plant clinics on the first Monday in July, which is the 4th of July 2022, and that is now going to be returning to the face-to-face format of the plant clinic setting. That clinic will be available from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Monday, except on public holidays, of course. The clinic serves to give you a real-time response to a pest or disease issue. So when you come into the clinic, you will get an answer to your question. You will get the recommendation to help you within a short space of time.
Plant Clinic Mondays will take place at the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development's head office. It's located on the corner of Milford Road and Sherburne Road. The mandate of the unit is to aid in food security by reducing crop losses brought on by pests and diseases. So in-person plant clinics is a great way to find out the state of plant health on the island.
What it also does for us on a national basis is that it's a form of soft surveillance. So something might be happening latently in the community. And because of the plant clinic, once people start reporting strange occurrences in terms of plant health issues early, we would be able to detect plant health issues at a faster rate, rather than waiting for an explosion of a said pest to know that we have a problem on the island.
But plant clinics aren't the only services provided by this unit. The plant protection specialist tells us of their other functions.
The services we provide to help farmers and growers alike are diagnostic field visits. That is where we come out to you depending upon a request. Most of our requests come via the extension department, or you can make direct requests to the plant protection unit. We also do some laboratory diagnostics. We also do plant clinics. And we are also responsible for surveillance and eradication exercises. We also do some training for farmers and home gardeners in the diagnosis of common pests and their management.
Even as the face-to-face plant clinic Mondays are to resume, people can still access the virtual plant clinics via WhatsApp. So if you have a plant problem or you want more information, you can call 482-7528. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
So we have to take another break, but do not go away. Let's Talk Tobago. We'll be right back. The Roxborough Police Youth Club is taking its activities outdoors once again. This time, the club is reintroducing its Night Football League, which is giving young residents yet another opportunity to occupy their time in a very meaningful way.
The Roxborough Police Youth Club has used the slowdown of the last 2 years to regroup, recollect and re-emerge as the club put on the Chief Secretary's Cup football competition. The league has been around for the past 25 years. It was born as a means of giving young people a positive outlet. Club leader Collis Hazel says the tournament has had the desired effect. He's happy to see it make its return.
Because we were faced with a lot of break-ins that were taking place in the night, we decided that we must do something to create leisure opportunities for people in the night so that they will not fall prey to social ills in society. And hence the reason why this competition was born.
Sport teaches us values like fairness, team building, discipline, inclusion and respect. Sport and recreation aid the holistic development of youth and for the greatest talents can provide a fulfilling career. This is why Chief Secretary Honorable Farley Augustine believes the league is beneficial to the Roxborough community.
It's important that we continue to use sports as an avenue through which we could develop communities, especially that subsector of young men. That subsector of young men who are most likely, statistically, to get into trouble. And so I want you all to play with your hearts out. I want you all to play clean, play honestly. I'm wishing you again all the best.
Special commendation were given to the players who exercised patience even after the hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
You, the footballers, without you, this competition could not have been possible. You have stood in the trenches and you have worked hard and you continue to play hard and you continue to support the league And we are very grateful that you as community leaders have continued to see the success of sports and particular night football.
12 teams are participating in the league. The winners will walk away with the grand prize of $30,000. I'm Kern De Freitas for Let's Talk Tobago.
NLCB Buccaneers Steel Orchestra has reached an impressive milestone. The organization recently turned 55. It's been one of the most consistent steel orchestras on the island over the years, and so its 55th birthday was a fitting occasion to give thanks. We have the highlights in this story. The NLCB Buccaneers came alive last weekend as the Steel Orchestra celebrated its 55th anniversary with a Thanksgiving service.
55 years means that there is something done in the orchestra that was not done by you. It was done by Almighty God. So Thanksgiving must not be limited to this evening. It mustn't be limited to if we are called to give thanks, we give thanks. It must be a lifestyle.
According to Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Councillor Tashia Burris, the band remains resilient, consistent and well organized. She says this is illustrated in NLCB Buccaneers earning many titles, including the first place medium band in National Panorama 2013 and its record as a finalist for over 10 consecutive years.
Steel orchestras and other groups form the bedrock of our communities and have been responsible over the years for honing some of our best and brightest talents. They teach the values of commitment, discipline, love for community and country, and respect for oneself and others. Undoubtedly, the contribution of the Buccaneers Steel Orchestra to Tobago's cultural development and entertainment landscape is noteworthy.
I think the steel pan could expand so much more effectively if I worship on Sabbaths, if on a Sabbath morning or on a Sunday morning at church, if we had more steel pans to mix with the conventional instruments to give the service that lift. And I want to encourage Buccaneers to consider that market. I'm making it public now.
Also bringing greetings on behalf of the Pan fraternity were Chairman Pan Trimbago, Beverly Ramsey Moore, and Chairman of Pan Trimbago Tobago Region, Celicia James.
I am so elated. I'm so happy to be here celebrating with NLCB Buccaneers. You know, in everything we ought to give God thanks for his goodness. You know, his goodness just keep running down. Just keep running down over us. And for a steel orchestra to be here celebrating 55 years, it tells you that a lot has gone on in terms of the strength and the power of the leadership of this organization. Steel band organization is not an easy thing. All of them know that already.
A band with longevity, perseverance, with skilled and talented players, a pillar in their community. So cheers to NLCB Buccaneers to another 55 years.
Prayers were also delivered for the band and its executive. We've come to the end of yet another edition of Let's Talk Tobago, and as always, we thank you for watching. Please email us with your comments or queries about the program, and be sure to visit our website, like our Office of the Chief Secretary Facebook page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For more information on AMBLYN Condo, you can contact Ambika at 759-0598 or email bikarjune@gmail.com. From our house to yours, I'm Davia Chambers, along with the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, wishing you a safe and fantastic week.